Hey everybody, this is Minion Soldier and this is Ship Updates. Now, right off the bat, once again we're going to start off with the Vanguard. It's not like we haven't heard enough information about the ship recently, but considering the sale and everything, there's been a lot of new info coming out. Now, of course, the Battlefield upgrade kits do have LTI, though if I heard Disco Lando correctly during Reverse the Verse today, in fact the Warden kit does not have LTI apparently. I am not 100% sure on that. It was a passing comment that he made that since it was the same as the Warden, which had 2-year insurance, then the kit would itself have 2-year insurance as well. So look for, I guess, details possibly about that or other things in today's second Vanguard Q&A, along with some new art in regards to the Vanguard. Also, people were asking about why there's a Warden when you already have the Sentinel or you have the Bomber, which is the Harbinger. And the answer was that the Warden kind of represents the middle ground. It's the most versatile of the three. Also, there was a question in regards to the turret on the Vanguard and will it still retract? Now, if you remember this video, from the initial Vanguard campaign, it showed the turret retracting, the guns would kind of stick up on top of the turret would sink in, and then the whole thing would be kind of covered over by this armored plating, which was really cool. And now apparently there might be an issue with space, and so the turret may in fact not retract. Lastly, in regards to the Vanguard, during Reverse the Verse today, Calyx Renault said that the Vanguard Warden does not have any latent E-War capabilities, and that is a function strictly of the Vanguard Sentinels. So that is, if you have the Vanguard, the base Vanguard, no E-War capability whatsoever unless you have either the Battlefield upgrade kit or you upgrade it to the Sentinel. Next up, we have the Herald. Now, the Herald was discussed on Around the Verse and Reverse the Verse today, in regards to it being very soon. And I'm gonna go ahead and kind of think that it's possibly one of the next ships that's going to be flyable, because in Around the Verse they said that, what was it, in the studio update segment in the first one from the LA office, they said that the ship was already flyable internally in a white box stage. So, and now right now they're in the final gray box and they're just refining the geometry a little. So as to when it's going to be released, there was a discussion on Reverse the Verse about that, and they were saying that marketing makes the call on that. So possibly very soon, but who knows. I'm gonna kind of guess that probably closer to CitizenCon, as they're probably going to want a big splash for CitizenCon. And if this ship is already flyable in the white box phase, I mean, to have it flyable and in the hangar at the same time, just boom boom, that would be, I mean, that would be a kind of a big thing. So I'm going to kind of go ahead and think that that's, right now I would call it as that's probably when we're going to see the Herald, is probably around CitizenCon, if not released along with CitizenCon. And they were also discussing the Herald in terms of speed, and it was, of course, it was vague, but they were talking about it being a very solid drag racer, but not being any good in a turn, which is kind of information that we already knew. But when you look at a lot of the flavor text in regards to the Herald being able to keep pace with the fastest racing ships in the game, I'm definitely very, very excited to see this ship. Next up, we have the Caterpillar. Now, the Caterpillar has been the subject of internal discussions we found out on Reverse the Verse today. Now, the ship itself has not gone into production as of yet that we have found out, but they are having discussions about it, and there's possibly some art floating around internally in regards to possible variants and or different modules that can be placed on the ship. Now, the ship itself is still, the last we heard, is not going into production until the beginning of the new year. But also speaking of the beginning of the new year, we found out today on Reverse the Verse that that is when the 890 Jump will be going into production. So for those of you who bought the space yacht, it goes into production beginning of the new year. Next up, we got a little bit of info about the Xi'an Scout. Now, the Xi'an Scout, it seems to keep kind of bouncing back and forth between being in production and almost being in production and just about to start, but not quite. And we found out today that Chris Smith will be working on it after he's done with the Connie. And it's going to be a ship that is going to be shared between the LA and Austin offices. Next, we found out that the 300 series is going to be getting a HUD update. That the HUDs in a lot of the ships that we're flying right now are just placeholders, and they aren't really the manufacturer-specific HUDs that they have envisioned for Star Citizen. So a lot of the ships, the only ships that they really mentioned that have their more or less, not the final version of their HUDs, but more or less have the kind of manufacturer look that they're going for, are the Merlin, the Aurora, and the Scythe. So there's probably a lot of ships out there that we're currently flying or about to fly that are going to get some major changes moving forward in terms of their HUD. And we found out just a little bit of information about the Cutlass in regards to it being worked on in the UK, and that it is going to play a very important role in Squadron 42. And almost lastly, we found out just a little bit of a tidbit on the Reliant on Around the Verse, and that ship is in the early white box phase. And as for when we'll see it, no real definite answer there, but there was a point of discussion in Reverse the Verse today where they said that there has been an internal discussion about releasing ships a little bit earlier into the hangar module before they're completely finished, within the exterior and the interior, just so people can kind of see them. It's basically a discussion that they're having internally. No definite answer that they are going to do that, but something that they've been thinking about recently. So hopefully they do. I would love to see that. I would love to see the hangar much more filled up with ships, and a lot more ships, just not so much to say, hey, show us your work, but just, so you can kind of watch the game evolve right in front of you. I think that would be really, really cool. Oh, one last thing. Apparently on Reverse the Verse today, they were discussing the fact that Dancing Ben may become an emote in the Star Citizen universe. There's been some very serious discussion in regards to that. Alright guys, well that's the show today. Now if you enjoyed the show and you'd like to see some more, you can click on this video here to the right and go to last week's episode of Ship Updates, or you can click on this video here to the left and go to last week's episode of The Piracy Show. Anyways, thanks for watching. See you later.